welcome to Bless the Mic magazine and Ciphers, Kamal Supreme show. I have on somebody that is known to many of y'all. He's an extraordinary writer. He's an extraordinary MC. He's an author. Y'all know the book. Y'all know the book. We'll get into that in a minute, right? But y'all know him as Mark Curry, and I know him as Mark Curry. We go back like actual facts. We go back like Cadillacs, and we go back like Similacs. All right? And I want to welcome my man Mark Curry. What's up, Mark?
Man, we go back like artifacts.
Ooh.
Man, we like fossils and dinosaur bones and fossils. We go back like that, man. Dang. All the way to history.
The Flintstones to the Jetsons.
Man, we ready, yes, sir, man. Man, you know, Kamal, the most amazing thing is I think you the first person that ever wrote a rhyme for me.
Wow.
I started rhyming because you started me rhyming a long time ago.
See, I didn't know that, but I'll take that.
Going.
Yeah,
you did that. That's right. That's right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, I was always running around rhyming.
Yeah. Everything was a rhyme. You know what I'm saying? and it was just something that you lived and you loved, and man, you blessed me.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate that, man. Yes. I appreciate that. You just gave me my flowers while I'm alive. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm talking about. With something we don't often do, but yeah, that's something that goes back with me since the beginning. It was Kamal Supreme a lot. I can't remember a lot of your first rhymes, but I remember that you wrote me a rhyme one time, and I was like, okay, this is gonna work.
You almost had me going, but it ain't about me right now. I was like, yeah. But like I got a picture of you, but I said I ain't gonna dig it up. The one when you outside on the linoleum on Intervale and Teaneck. Huh?
Oh wow, you got that picture?
Yeah, I got it. I'm gonna find it for you. I'm gonna get it to you off the air. You was breakdancing on the street in linoleum. He was like 8 years old or something, maybe 10. I don't know.
That's how we used to prove who was tough, who was b-boy. If you ain't had no linoleum, you ain't know how to breakdance. You ain't had no leads with the crease in them, or the t-shirt, or a windbreaker, or something, or at least some kind of Nikes or Adidas or something. You was not a b-boy.
That's right, because I remember we could do it all. We could do graffiti, we could rap, we could DJ, we could breakdance, and we had knowledge of self.
Yes, sir.
And we was not in the Bronx, you know what I'm saying?
Nah, not at all.
We was in the 6th borough, and that's what we're going to talk about, you know? Yeah. Yes, so my first question to you, man, is, well, first of all, you got the book coming out, the Shamita, right? And I know Shamita sound like a ghetto chick, but it's much deeper than that. And but we're going to get into that in a moment. As soon as I ask you this question, it'll probably get us rolling. What does Wall Street, the Diamond District, Harlem, and Teaneck, New Jersey have in common?
Well, back in, I think when Hitler was sending the concentration camps. He was sending the Jews in the concentration camps back in like 1947, back in the 45s and all of that, right? So they would send a lot of the refugees would board certain ships, and they would be runaway refugees. So they try to port in different towns, like they try to port in New York, or they try to port wherever there was a port. A lot of the ports would shut them down. But in 1947, I believe, don't quote on the year, but New York was the first state to let one of the ships port. And when they ported, a lot of the unorthodox Jews came off the boats, but when they were going into the camps, a lot of them had diamonds. So a lot of the rich Jews would come with diamonds, and because they were small, they were easy to transport, and they were holding value. So they come down to New York, they ported, and when they ported, they got right there by the Diamond District. They started the Diamond District. That's the beginning of the Diamond District. And also with Wall Street was just a place where they used to sell slaves on Wall Street. It was a big wall, you know, and on the other side of the wall, there was a lot of different kind of things going on there. But when the rich Jews would come to New York and they started the Diamond District, they would move to the suburbs. And one of the towns that they inhabited was Teaneck, New Jersey.
Wow.
And so a lot of those rich Jews that own diamond stores and things like that, during Rosh Hashanah and the Jewish holidays, Yom Kippur, things like that, yes, they would bring all of their diamonds and things home. And when they used to bring them home, that's when the Teaneck thieves was ready. They was doing breaking and entering, breaking their homes, taking the carpet, taking the jewelry, taking everything. That's what Teaneck was known for. It's called Little Israel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like we grew up in Israel.
Didn't even know it.
We didn't even know it.
But you was telling me the reality of Israel and the reality of what was it, Canaanite?
Yeah, Canaanites. And oh, you deep on this one. We're looking at the Israelites, the ones who go by life on according to what Israel, and then you're looking at Canaanites, those who they cannot. They start off sentences with cannot. Can I borrow this? Is it all right? Can I do this? And Israelite don't ask, can I? Israelite does exactly what God tells him he can do. So it's like a Canaanite asks for permission. Israelite gonna do what he got to do. See, I'm an Israelite. So that's true. Yeah, that made me, that kind of, at an early stage, made me understand what it's like to just be real.
Right.
It's real.
Right. Yeah. So what's the significance of like the New York, like what's the connection, like in the hip hop world and in the drug world of Teaneck and New York? Because like I know a lot of people, like Frank Lucas lived in Jersey, and I know my friend's pop's father was friends with Nicky Bonds and stuff like that, but they was living in Teaneck, but always in Harlem. And even me, I was born in Harlem. At 3 years old, I moved to the Bronx, and then at 9, I moved to Teaneck. But even when I was in Teaneck, I kept going over the bridge. And like when we was at the high school, like if we had a break or whatever, we'd go over that bridge, George Washington Bridge. You know, we was just young kids playing around. But the older people that was handling business, there was a big connection over there.
They didn't even want us over. If you remember back in the day, if they caught you in New York, it was a problem because they was like, you're not even supposed to be over this bridge. Because, you know, when they go over that bridge to handle their business, that was their business. But when they came home, which is to that suburb to where we live, it was just totally different. But, you know, Teaneck is also, where we grew up, you know, Teaneck is also known as a place where there's a high rate of family murders. So that means like a place where a lot of families homicides were unsolved murders of family, like the Diggs family. Right. Not Diggs family is not the first family in Teaneck to ever be murdered. You know, so they're known for like, we're known in Teaneck for when they come, they murdering everybody in the house. Right. Everybody getting it. The mother, the dog, the kids, everybody. That's Teaneck. Right. That's what was going on back in those days. Heavily mafia populated area. Right. Yes. Right. Yes.
And what's the connection with that in the music business? And before you answer that, I just want to say like something that I see with us, because like I saw like when Sugar Hill started, and then all the rappers in New York started going to Sugar Hill, and I hear that they signed, many of them were underage, and they signed contracts and stuff like that. Right. But just in general, I'm just using Sugar Hill as an example for the average artist that gets in the game and they think like, yo, I'm gonna be famous, I'm gonna have money, right? And they see the glitz and the bling and all of that, the fame. But the business people, they're using the music business and the distribution to not just do music, but to funnel drugs through and other things that they're dealing with, and it's strictly business for them. So while we're like, yo, I got a deal, I got 500,000, you know, they're like, yo, how could we get this 5 million, you know, doing this, that, and the other, you know what I'm saying? And then when that artist is washed up, they just cut them off, you know?
Yeah, that to me, you know, more a good example for one, but for those, you know, that's listening, what's up, everybody? Look at what happened with John Lennon and Morris Levy. And John Lennon had sued Morris Levy for bootlegging his records. But back in the days, if you was a black man and you was dealing with the gang when they called it the French Connection, that area, that era. That's when the French was, the Italians were sending a lot of heroin and things into New York through the pizzerias and things like that. That's why you had like the pizzeria bus where they was, back in 70s and 75s up in there, they was just busting every pizzeria. And because, back in our times, if you was black and you trying to get money, you got the connection with the dude who owned the pizza shop. You give him the money, he gonna send the money back to Sicily, and then they gonna send back whatever you need, whatever he needs, and then blah, blah, blah. But anyhow, back in those days when they wanted to pay the blacks, they would make sure that you own a record shop, like a record, some kind of record, because they want to give you records. So they'll give you an 18-wheeler full of cassettes and things like that, 8-tracks and things like that. And then you put them inside your record store, then you sell them. You don't have to report those sales. They like, just keep that money. That was, so John Lennon had sued Morris Levy for bootlegging his album. But then Morris Levy turned around and sued John Lennon for using the word rock and roll because he had a patent on the word rock and roll. And the most interesting thing that we all know, or well, that I found out, is Sugar Hill Records was owned by Joey Robinson, his wife, what's his wife? Sylvia, and Morris Levy.
Right.
We never knew that third silent partner that was the ownership of that record label.
That's correct.
Right? And that was the bad boy of 1970. That was the death row of 1970, the So-So Def. They were doing what we was pioneering or trying to be pioneers of. It was already laid. So the foundation was there.
Right. I was privy to go to the Schomburg about 3 years ago, and I saw the Sugar Hill Gang, and it was very interesting. They had their documentary called I Want My Name Back. And not only them, but I've heard that Grandmaster Flash, that Sugar Hill owns his name, and that there was a time he was overseas. I think it was Germany. I'm not sure, but he was supposed to be at a club, and he got a call from, I think it was Joey, but he got a call from Sugar Hill, and it said, look, if you perform in that club tonight, we shutting the club down, we suing y'all. And they had to like stop because they said, we own the name Grandmaster Flash. And that's what Wonder Mike was concerned about, and Master G. They were like, yo, they own our name. Like, we can't perform as Sugar Hill Gang. We got to perform as Rapper's Delight. And they can't perform that song, Tonto, Jump On It. They can't perform that.
Kimosabe.
That's the hot joy.
Come on, we grew up out cowboy.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
So yeah, they can't even perform that. So that's what they was fighting for. But the sad thing, man, is that they said, welcome to Sugar Hill Gang. Everybody's in auditorium, and Master G came out. Now that was special because I've been for like 20 years, like, where's Master G?
Yeah,
I love Master G. Like, where he at? Where he at? Where he at? Right? And then people just told me Master G like quit. He was like, forget it, right? But then Master G came out, and then they said, Wonder Mike, because Hank is dead now, you know what I'm saying? He passed away, rest in peace. But then Wonder Mike got somebody holding on to him, and he had a cane or something he's holding on to, walking real slow. It might not have been a cane, but somebody was holding him. He's walking real slow. He's legally blind. And, he was telling the story about how they used to sleep on the bench outside the Sugar Hill Studios and stuff like that. And it was just sad, like, because I remember being in Inglewood after all the hits and seeing Wonder Mike working in McDonald's. I think he was like a manager, and seeing Big Bag Hank on the truck, DPW garbage truck. And I used to be like, how did this happen? You know what I'm saying? But I know it comes down to the publishing, and I heard that Sugar Hill would take like 100% publishing from these artists and things like that. So
you remember,
that's definitely a part of what was going down around here.
Yeah, you remember Sugar Hill Gang had those big houses in the Inglewood Cliffs and things like that. They were living good for maybe 3 or 4 decades.
Right.
We almost going maybe 40 years of them living good.
Right.
But for them to finally give them back the rights, well, let me tell you what it took for the Sugar Hill Gang to get their rights back, right? It took for the whole family, except for one brother, to remain living, to die, including, sad thing, you know, when the Sugar Hill Gang was performing, Big Bank Hank was the only one that would perform with the brothers. He was the only original member of the Sugar Hill Gang. Right. And he would perform with the brothers. And we know the brothers. The brothers are our friends too, right?
Yes.
And so he would be the only one to perform with them. But unfortunately, when you look at karma and you look at God and you look at what that word Shemitah means,
right,
it's a reason why the family, because it's almost like, you know, God is saying, you know, at the end, the victory would be, don't have to worry about the victory, you know, coming to me. The victory is God's. And if you just, what they had to do is just sit back and patiently wait for that moment. And then that moment finally came. So when you saw Wonder Mike walk on that stage and he needed that assistance, that was probably the best or the most memorable moment of his life. That's something that he'll never forget, something that you probably won't never forget, something that if I saw, I would never forget.
Right.
But that's what just what the industry's about.
Huh?
That's what the industry's about, you know. The industry's about the contracts, you know. How can I not only own you as an artist? I want to buy your name, Kamal. I want to own that, and I want to be able to just package it and sell it, and you can't make no money off of that.
And is there a relationship with that and like the king making thing? Is that real? Like kiss my ring and let me get something on you, a secret on you, and all of that kind of stuff?
That right there, you know, what people call the Illuminati, whatever they want to call that, it's just a circle of individuals who have power and that feel like they only want to share that power within that circle. Or some people, you know, which I don't have anything to say about people or any kind of gender, but it's something, it's a saying I used to say, the gay dollar rules. And sometimes if the gay dollar rules and you're not a part of that gay circle, then a lot of the times they would not share that wealth with you. Right. And that's the same way the industry's always been. Like when you look at individuals like Clive, who says, hey, you know, I've been bisexual for 50 years or something like that. You'd be like, well, Clive, who have you been sleeping with? But he never told you who he was sleeping with. Right. So a lot of the people who he may have been sleeping with, or with him, however it may have been, or whoever those higher ends may, whatever they're doing, it was just what they felt like to, you know, like in order for me to give you $10 million, I got to be able to have your soul so I can always dingle it over in my hand while you on stage. I just gonna dingle your soul like this so you can remind yourself where you come from. Don't get too far, you know, too big in your britches.
Yeah, Icarus, don't fly too high, you burn off your wings.
Yeah, it's almost like the crab in the bucket scenario when that one crab won't go this high because they sitting there telling you, lower it down. No, bring it down a notch. Control. Right. You know, but that's been going on in the industry. Industry is nothing but industry. It's street business. It's nothing. It's murder. It's music, and it's drugs. It's always been murder, music, and drugs.
Yeah, I remember. I saw it. I looked it up. This book that I used to see in Borders Bookstore. It's like 1993 or something like that. And it's called The Music Business. MCA, the Music Business and the Mafia. And that's the subtitle. I can't remember the title right now. But right there, that told me it back in the day. I said, the music business, the mafia. And, you know, that's crazy. You know, but now, you know, we older, we went through it, we seen things. And I'm not going to say any names, but I almost signed a deal with a dude that was signing people back in the day. When we used to get our stuff played on NWK, WHBI, all of that. And the dude was going to sign me. And good thing we fought. Like my team and their team didn't get along. But after we didn't get the deal, then they was like, yo, if you would have signed, that dude wanted to F you. I was like, what? Like, I wasn't even thinking about nothing like that. And back then, there was homo thugs. Because most of these DJs, like, up in that station was gay. But they was cool as hell at hats, and they was hip hop as hell. you know, but then, you know, later on I found out, oh, because I could tell one was, but then I guess if they was hanging out, you know, and I don't got nothing against them, but I'm just saying it's crazy where you do something and somebody comes and tries to get you on that blackmail tip. You know, that's just crazy right there. And I think a lot of artists got to watch out for that, man.
Yeah, it was just a part of when you ask someone in order to have something that you desire or you dream about and you want it more than you can work hard for it or pray for it, then sometimes it involves selling your soul, selling yourself for it, which means basically like, again, selling your name, selling who you are to be a brand. So, you know, a lot of people have gone that route. You know, again, it's almost like I have some friends. I got some friends that are drug dealers. I don't not hang with them because they're drug dealers. I got some friends who may have done some whatever they may have done in their life. I say, hey, that's your business. That doesn't still come between me and you being friends.
That's right.
Back in the days, there was one gay guy on our block on Interville named Chris. But when we was playing basketball and we wanted to do 5-on-5 and we only had 5 men on one side and 4 men on one side, we'd be like, get Chris gay ass, let him come on and play with us. And we let him come play with us and do that because we treated Chris like a regular person. We didn't know Chris was whatever Chris may have been. His sexual agenda didn't have nothing to do with if he's going to play football or basketball with us or not. You know, and that's because we were pure. We were a little bit more innocent back in our time. Now the world is so advanced that, you know, it turned into a trend and then people think that it's the cool, the in thing to do. So I think it's more of an influence by power. It's by saying, you know, if I have money and then I'm like this, then I can belong, you know. And it's cold because, you know, you should be able to have the things that you want, that you work hard for, that God bless you, without having to have that energy involved.
True. Now with the Shemitah, right? You had asked me a question when we was talking off air, and I think I got the answer. You know, it came late, delayed. And then you said it, judgment. And what I was thinking, I was like, oh, like Day of Atonement, judgment. And like even with Jaguar Wright, right? She's coming out. You came out with Dancing with the Devil, like, and then everybody started coming out with this Illuminati stuff and all that. Like, you know, I understand what you were saying about that. But everything is coming out. But even just like the Me Too movement, you know, with the R. Kelly, they tried to get Rush. And I was like, damn, man, not Rush. You know, they got Bill Cosby, which is sad. And like, but it just seems like everything is coming out. And I would be like, yo, you know, why are these people telling the truth on these people? And it could hurt their family, it could hurt their reputation. But then I had to say, it's karma, it's judgment, and they shouldn't have did it.
Shouldn't have did it.
If you ain't do it, I can't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like me, I'm pretty clean. Like you say something about me, I'm gonna be like, well, show and prove where the receipts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We need the footage.
Word.
Yeah.
Not no doctored up stuff either. So like, yeah, I see now, like, so what you had got coming out in the future, in terms of your film project is a lot of truth. But I understand that, like, it's just people need to know. And I really think that the music business needs to change. It needs like Trump said, drain the swamp, like, because there's so much talent out here and they don't know what's going on still. They haven't learned that it's the music business. They're just on the music side predominantly and getting a little check, but that business side, you better know what you're doing.
Man, because if you look at music and you incorporate street business into it, almost every record label has had some significant murders and things happen to artists. It's been going on since the beginning. You know, from the streets to the music business. The music business is nothing different than the drug. It's the same as the drug game, if you ask me. You know, the same way it's ran is the same people who run it are the same people who run the music. So you'd be like, wow, you know, hey, making music. You know, I making music. I never thought that making music would have so much behind it to just do a song and say some words that you thought was great enough for the world to recite, and then they turn that into $1 and then say, hey, you know what, this is how much percent of it we get. This is what you get. You like, man, I'm sitting here writing a song for God, sharing the money with the devil. Like, I don't understand how it goes. So it makes it, you know, sometimes that's why I always look and I say, you know, like, why wasn't I fortunate to ever put out that album or that you know, reach that level that, you know, of greatness that I was trying to reach for. And I thought that God had blessed me, you know, and which he actually did.
Yes.
It actually did it. And I said, you know, I reached and I said, you know what, maybe the greatest person to ever did it died. You know, so I said, I don't want to be the greatest person because the greatest people, I seen all of them get murdered. Biggie was great. Right. He got murdered. Tupac, great. He got murdered. Look, and it goes on to, what's the young guy over in California again?
Hustle. Nipsey Hussle.
Nipsey Hussle. There's a lot of great people. It's a lot of them from Big Bankroll Fresh here in Atlanta, who is my nephew's friend. So not only did it hit us, when it started hitting their generation, I was like, can I compare losing Biggie Smalls to my nephew losing Bankroll Fresh?
Okay.
He was just as traumatized as I was when I lost Biggie Smalls.
Right.
And it keeps going on and on and on.
Right. And me, Michael Jackson hit me. You know what I'm saying? And Whitney's daughter, Prince. I'm like, come on.
You know, Michael Jackson, you know, was in so much debt, and Whitney was in so much debt, and Prince was in so much debt that they say, hey man, how in the world can you owe me $1 billion? That means I'm not going to get it back in this life. I need to have this money back within the next 2 or 3 years. I need my $1 billion. And the only way that they're going to be able to get that $1 billion is if Michael Jackson or Whitney Houston or Prince was dead. They can't get their money back no other way.
Wow.
Yeah, that's, you know, and that's how that industry works like that. You always look at, man, I've been seeing people get murdered in the industry and they count it off as suicide. Suicide. No, it wasn't suicide, man. Something else happened besides y'all call it suicide. They call it suicide. I never believed in suicide in the industry. You know,
people living good too.
You living good, you having the best time of your life, the best things in life that could ever be given or granted to you. You having them, and then all of a sudden life is just so sad or so terrible, it takes it down for you. You just want to kill yourself.
Now, Mark, I have to say, man, you are blessed, and you were blessed to get to where you have to achieve what you have achieved. And as a friend and brother, like, man, when I saw you rising and when I saw you in that video, brother, we ain't going nowhere. Man, I was so happy for you, man. And I know the whole team, Teaneck, you know what I'm saying, Inglewood, Hackensack, Patterson. I know people was very happy for you, man. But I was like, because I was just with y'all in Atlanta, like 91, when I was at Morehouse and stuff. So I was like, what happened? How'd he do that? And I heard some rumors like Heavy D put you on, brought you to Eric, and Eric brought you to Heavy D. So what's that story right there?
Okay, that's a good one. Back in the days, we used to have this rim shop. And, all of the artists used to come to the rim shop, man, from Goody Mob, Outkast, everything that was coming from the Face, TLC. We had the rim shop. We had Too Short. We had Redman, Keith Murray. We had all of the artists because everybody was coming. It was the central, and I was the hottest thing moving in the rim shop, right? And Eric was like, out of everybody in the rim shop, the only person, well, one of the only persons that he felt would have that chance would be me. And so then Too Short wanted to sign me too, but then when I got that call from Puff, and Puff was like, he wanted me to be a part of Bad Boy. I thought about it, you know, when I lived in Los Angeles at that time. I thought about it, and I thought that would be one of the best business moves for me to make. And I went on and we signed a production deal with Puff, which means he wanted to sign me through a friend. My friend was a gangster. all of my friends is gangsters damn near right off the rip.
Could I interrupt real quick?
Yeah.
I remember one time I was at your brother's house with my
Uh-huh.
wife, my new wife.
Uh-huh.
And we was all playing cards and partying and everything.
Uh-huh.
And you came in and said, Mark's coming soon. I said, okay. And these goons came in. I said, I'm from New York, New Jersey, but I said, okay, I'm glad they my friends.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? They wasn't playing. I know game recognized game. I said, this some real brothers right here.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, when I was in Los Angeles, that band of brothers, there was some Crips, you know what I'm saying? And I, you know, we grew together since we have a friendship that goes way back before music, before Puff. It goes way back to Felines. It goes way back to BBS's on BMWs. It goes back to Dayton's on 5.0s and looking like menace to society. And all this. That was the industry back then. And right. So if if Puff would have had some kind of connection to that, then that means that his street credibility would be a little bit stronger when it comes to the West Coast. So the friends that I had out there, you know, it's from Mansfield. I was from, you know, a place called Mansfield Gangsters, Pico and La Brea out there in Los Angeles. And, you know, to this day, those are still my band of brothers because, you know, once you become brothers, you're brothers for life.
That's right.
So when I signed from there, you know, that's when, you know, it's a production deal. It was like, you have an artist. I'd rather give you the money and then sign your artist so you can have control over the money. Your artist, I don't have too much to say to your artist. I sign your artist through you. So if I have a problem with your artist, I'm gonna talk to you and you handle your artist.
Right.
So as an artist, I go to Puff and be like, what's up with my budget? What's up? I say, talk to your manager. Handle your business with them. You be like, well, how can I handle my business with them? I never really came. I started to do business with them. You doing business with them. I don't know what kind of business y'all have going on. I don't know what kind of contracts you and this person signed. But you have my life in limbo because I'm signed to this person and I can't talk to you. Nah, that's when I told Puff, you know, I respect the contract thing, but I don't really care about the contract. I'm a man of word. But that contract is not going to save you. I don't care nothing about the words. I don't care nothing about what I signed. Don't tell me to go talk to my manager because when I go talk to them, I'm going to smack that person. I'm going to come back and I'm going to smack you. And then I'm going to smack your security. It's just going to be a big smack up thing. Because I don't care nothing. Yeah, I'm not going to be like, you know, somebody tell you, well, you should have been careful about what you signed. You be like, well, you should have been careful about what you put on that paper. It goes both ways. It don't just stop there like I'm going to sit there and sigh. Nah, man, I'm mad at the words. Who put them words together? Bring them here. Who the smart guy? You know? And that's when you get to the lawyer. Oh, it's the lawyer. So now I work for you, but I do exactly what the lawyer say I can and can't do. He's a white Jew, or whatever he may be over there to sit behind the desk making 20% of your earnings because he's telling you how to steal. I don't respect that. That's how I never did. I told him, I said, look, man, if things don't work out for me with this music stuff, no offense, I'm gonna be writing a book. He's a playboy. What the book gonna be about? I said, it's gonna be about you.
Oh.